A little deep, but pretty good, like 5 feet. Hi, I'm Jeremy Anderson. I'm the Director of Instruction here at the Legacy Golf Club in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to give you the secret today for how to hit your wedges really, really pure, perfect contact. And what I want to talk to you about is a few things. Number one being we need to be intentional about the strike. Okay, so it's really important to understand like where we want to hit the ball on the club face. Okay, number two is we need to be intentional about launch conditions, like how we're trying to launch the golf ball and what our visual is from a trajectory standpoint. Okay. And then the third thing that I want to talk about today is just some pivot stuff and how you should try and conceptualize getting the club in and out of the ground. Okay. So when we're thinking about hitting a wedge shot like this, like what I intentionally want to do is I want to hit the ball kind of on the lower part of the middle on the face. I don't want this to feel like a 7-iron where I'm going to catch the ball like fifth or sixth groove up. I want to hit the ball a little bit lower on the face. And then part two to this is the window that I'm visualizing launching the ball out of is going to be somewhere in that 27 to 29 degree range. So typically when I'm hitting wedge shots, I'm trying to launch the ball really, really flat, almost visualizing like power lines, like this way, not this big high ballooning wedge shot that goes infinitely far. I'm trying to create maximum. So like this shot here is 90 yards. I'm trying to launch it through like a 27 degree window. So I'm going to be with my 56 be about the middle of the grip. Okay, ball is approximately middle of my stance, maybe just a little bit forward. And my intent is to control distance by keeping the trajectory down, because you can only hit it so far if you're launching it low. Like if I say to myself, all right, I want to hit this 56 degree and I want to launch it at like, let's say I'm trying to launch it at like 24 degrees, which would be really flat, really low. Okay. Okay. So that ball there launched like 30 degrees. Okay. Exactly 30. Okay. And that ball flew 93 yards. But my point is that I was getting at is if I launch the ball 24 degrees, I know that I can only hit my 56 degree like 85, 90 yards max. So for me, when I'm trying to hit a 90-yard shot, like a pretty good trajectory for me at that distance is like 27, 28 launch. And like ideally what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to control my tempo, because tempo is really important for controlling distance also. But again, it's a low center face strike. Okay. I'm trying to launch it through the 27 degree window. And then the third part of this is we're talking pivot. Okay. So when it comes to body pivot on wedges, if you go back in your backswing and you get too much flexion in your right hip, what's going to happen is the club can get to swinging too far down and out of the ball. And then the ball is going to ride the face because your low point is going to be too deep into the ground. And that's when you start launching it high. So for me, I actually try and feel like when I'm making a swing with a wedge, like I'm going to almost sway my pelvis and feel like my head moves up and left. And when I do that, it becomes a lot easier for me to flight this ball out really low. I hit that a little thin, but that was actually very close to being the right kind of contact. And I think the issue that most people have is they think that's an awful shot, but I would much rather hit that than the high scooper that launches too high off the face. So again, let's try this again. Like that to me is like perfect. That's a little bit low on the face. That ball carried 84 yards, really, really flat. That had a 26 degree launch, had 8,000 spin. That was money. Like that's exactly what we're looking for. And again, my feel with the body pivot was a little bit of a sway, heads moving up and left. And that allows me to keep my low point, like meaning like how deep the arc swings relative to the earth. Like your club doesn't just swing to the surface. It can swing much deeper than that, but you have to manipulate it to get it out. So some of the pivot stuff that I talked about is very personal, but it could be universal to you as well. Like it could fit you, right? It could be inclusive to you as well. So you have to understand what your pivot is, and just remember that you don't want to get the club too deep into the turf. You want the bottom of the arc to barely get to the turf. And from there, you want to be able to launch the ball lower with more spin so you create maximums. So it's not just a full send like driver, because this is definitely a control shot. So let's hit a couple more. Okay, same thing. I'm going to sway my pelvis. My head's going to move up and left. I'm going to flight this ball out. Oh, is that good? That's straight filth. Almost hooped it. One hopped it almost off the stick. That carried 81 yards, and that was 9,000 RPMs of spin here on my GC Quad Max. Pretty sweet. Okay, let's hit one more. That was fun. That is probably my favorite shot to hit in golf. I could sit and hit wedges all day long. Okay, that was a little scoopy. It also wasn't as good of a range ball as the one before it, but that carried 80 yards. It launched at 35 degrees and spun 4,000. Okay, so let's end it with this. You launch the ball higher on wedge shots, it's going to spin less. You launch the ball lower, it's going to spin more, and you're going to create maximums. You're not going to hit shots that get away from you. You're not going to catch flyers and all the garbage shots you don't want. Now, if you're trying to be a hero and you're trying to tell your buddies you hit lob wedge from 110 or 120 or 100 even, you're launching it at like 40 degrees with like 3,000 spin. Very unpredictable, may seem repeatable, but like the first time you get a tight lie, it's going to go nowhere. Okay? We want to be consistent. We want to launch our wedges in a 27 degree window. We want to launch them with more than 8,000 or 9,000 RPMs of spin. And we want to create maxims where the ball doesn't go as far as it can go. We want to hit the ball X or less. So like if I hit my 56 degree, 100 yards at 27 degrees, I don't want it to go 103. I want it to go 100 yards. And if I miss hit it, I want it to go 95 or 90. I would much rather hit the ball short than goose it and hit it long, because I don't want my wedge to perform like a driver where it can go infinite, right? We catch a hot one. We want to eliminate the hot ones, create maximums, okay? So let's recap this. 3 things. Low center face strikes. Launch the ball through a 27 degree window, and you need to understand how your body pivot and tempo will dictate the trajectory of the golf shot. All right? Again, if you enjoy this video, please like it, share with your friends, and please make sure to follow my channel. Hope you're having a great day.